Hello, I'm just doing some videos and I'm thinking about going out probably tomorrow and doing some filming because I built heaps of things. Basically I rebuilt heaps of stuff after things were destroyed and just used my own materials, and so I'm filming about it. But you know, I'm a single woman. I've been that for most of my life. There's no biological family of me that was ever in Australia. And I have decided to include some women's lib stuff because I have no family and definitely no husband or boyfriend. I've repetitively been impositioned by men with attitudes as though women should be servitudinous. Not at all. As though the man should have the woman's things. No. So I just sort of thought, look, though I build all the things and they are my property, there's the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, and it's not only that. According to world law, people have to be paid to make produce. It's building things is defined as work, and who builds it owns it. If they use their own materials, you know, if they're using someone else's, I didn't, then it can be in dispute who owns the materials and who owns the resources that are built. But I use my own materials, so no dispute with that. But yeah, I sort of think, look, there's probably so many women around the world where there's these guys that tell them that, or tell anyone, that the woman's thing should be sent to the man. And I just sort of think, look, that's excessively absurd with me. I'm a single woman with no biological family even anywhere in the nation. There's no way someone would ever pull on a single female that her thing should be to her boyfriend or husband. You know, I don't have a boyfriend or husband. And everything I built alone, so I didn't build it with someone else. Most of the things I built in public, so it's all information relevant to the public, and not how to do it, that's industrial secrets. But certainly that I built it in public, things I built on my property. But not how to. I mean, that's like going into any industry and saying that you're allowed to rip off their secrets, you know. But, you know, in basically most industries it's not. And I do my own intellectual property, so. But yeah, though I'm filming, and I'll probably make a film tomorrow, and, you know, it's things I've built, blah, 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 build it alone, so it's my own alone. I just wanted to address the fact that, you know, I side with women's liberty, that if I built something, it's my property. It's not for the boyfriend or the father. You know, it's not any sort of repressive servitude where, you know, people think that if I build it, they should have it. Or there are a lot of people like that. And I thought, look, it's necessary to make people aware of some of these things, publish it, because I'm pretty sure that as a single woman with no biological family in the nation, it's just absurd to pretend that I have a boyfriend or husband and that he should be paid for things I've done. No. But it makes me wonder how many women they do that to. Like, do they just run around and do that to heaps of women and say the woman shouldn't have her own things? They should only be sent to the man, you know? But anyway, because most women aren't single women, as far as I know. Most women do actually live maybe with their husband or something like that. A huge percentage. So it just concerns me. So I just sort of think, well, anyway, so I make things public, and particularly it is very much the fact that anything I've built's my property, and any other deal is null and void. It's not that I consented. I can read definition of people criminally fraudulating my consent. That's not defined as my consent. Anyway, so yeah, I wonder, because, like, if there's just a single person, why would anyone ever think it's somebody else's? You know, whereas I'm sure that in some marriages there might be men that are so criminal, it's defined as criminal, that they want to claim that it's their right to have the woman's things. I thought that was all in the Dark Ages. So I treat it like it's in the Dark Ages. It has no place in light, time. Anything I built's my own, including all the sunlight. Yeah, but there's that. There's also, I'm trying to figure out how to attach. I can probably just include photos. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. of research some other people have done, and it includes things that I've built. And it shows really amazing, how other people are understanding things I've built. So I know what I understand, like, because I built it, so I know how it works. I know what I see is truthful because that is actually how it works, that is real. And what's theory, or they just thought that's how it works, but it isn't. And so I'm thinking, because I like correct referencing, so if I pick up an idea from somewhere, I like to mention that such and such or other had a good idea, and mention what their idea is, because it's relevant. And so I'm also trying to figure out how to include just showing that there are other people, their research is their own, and the way they've understood things I've built, because I don't think they really understand it. But there are definitely things where there are some people who have understood it quite well, right? And things where they definitely didn't, and so I think it's nice to kind of look at not only my perception, because I built it so I understand how it works, I understand what I've built myself, but also how are people arriving at truth, interpreting that, and it removes a lot of the wrong guesses, and it removes a lot of wrong information. So, yeah, anyway, I'll probably make another one of these tomorrow. Probably I'm thinking about going near the ocean and having some fun with some things I've built, so that people can see how things work, and then also looking at referencing to when other people sort of got it right, because most people didn't. Academics didn't. Right, so it's another one of those things, like academics could never do it. They didn't get it right. The books aren't right. But so that's why I was thinking about filming, and so it's published, so people can actually see real things without understanding any of the industrial secrets. It's not for them to mimic. It's my intellectual property, so it's not for people to rip off my intellectual property. But being able to see things clear and easy is much better. But I also think I should also mention what sort of things other people I've read, and it is actually, they're pretty much on the right sort of idea, because a lot of the books aren't. It's, but, reality is what reality is. So it's easier to look at seeing how things actually function, instead of seeing how things actually work, instead of theories, or how to explain it. Like, a lot of the ideas with physics, the way I explain that is they're very wrong if they ever try and use mathematics. So mathematics is simply a series of variables and commutators, right? And the variables are sort of like chemistry extractions. So if you want to describe people living only on straight chemicals and not actually whole food, so it's only the extracted quality or quantity, then they're all going to get sick and die, right? Basically, there's no way, that's not healthy and it's not natural. But so none of it can ever be explained through mathematics. I know other methods of qualitative and quantitative analysis that actually describe what I call the whole goods, the whole product, not extracted variables, right? And not weird commutators where you want to approximate based on linear regression or a graphical analysis between two variables and what generally statistically occurs, which would be a commutator, right? And that really doesn't function. Like, with reality, it's not the way that works, right? But showing things that are real, that is much easier. And then I'm going to have to try and explain or publish, so it's my intellectual property anyway, qualitative and quantitative methods. So it actually describes the whole goods, right? It's not just wrongfully extracted and there's no way anyone would live on that, all right? And it's not approximating all different objects as the same, like 1, 2, 3, 5 houses, they're not all the same. Each and everything is unique, every tree is unique, All right, every single thing's unique. It's not like 5 of the same thing. You know, it's particularly, yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna have to try and, because most people can't understand it, and I don't bother them with it. But I'm pretty sure I can simplify really easily, and often showing things so that people can see and understand, so they can understand that work. So it's not the industrial secrets of how. It means that it's easy for people to see and understand, and they can go, oh, I can see that happens. All right? Yeah.